What's up, everybody? It's your boy Stevie83, and we're back with another react. You know what I'm saying? Today, we're reacting to the real Tay Capone story. If y'all didn't know him, you'll know him today. After this, you'll know really what happened, really who he was, and really how his life got cut short. Let's get into it today. These people crazy.
It's very, very similar.
Why are they calling him to court every time Rondo don't go to court?
Bro, I'm gonna be 600 till I die.
Yeah, I'm a shooter. Take 600 other rules quick.
Welcome back to another episode of True Street TV, where we cover
Make sure you check
everything
them out.
street
True
related.
Street.
Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and let's get right into it. Today's story brings us to Chicago, Illinois, possibly the most influential city when speaking on street culture, as almost every city in the U.S. and plenty cities around the world have been heavily influenced by the Chicago streets, as they birthed the drill era and have impacted countless lives from their music. The man I'm
Now, if you don't know nothing about Chicago lifestyle, gang culture, anything like that, I grew up in gang culture. That's what I yearned for, thrive for, the closeness of that gang. But I got out of it. I grew it up. Real bad stuff can happen if you're inside of a gang. So make sure you kids stay out of that. Gangs ain't no way to be. In 2025, you can't live, you can't survive in a gang. You're going to end up in jail or you're going to end up murked. And that's just all it is to it.
I'm here to speak on today. Grew up in the heart of drill, being involved in some of the deadliest gang wars Chicago has ever seen, and it's from the most infamous hoods in the city. That brings us to the man we're here to talk about today. 28-year-old Jermonte Carpenter, or better known by his rap name, Tay 600, who now goes by Tay Capone. Tay was born on the low end, growing up in the Robert Taylor homes, as his mother is from 49th, the hood known as Vulture City, and his father is from 43rd and lived in the Robert Taylor projects. Tay also spent some time as a young kid in the Harold Ickes project building, but during his childhood, his grandmother on his mother's side always lived in 600's territory, living in the St. Edmunds apartment building located on 62nd and Michigan. So although Tay grew up in the...
See, I don't know a lot about Chicago. So they just got big apartment buildings like New York City, huh? Just on the corner, just full of apartments, full of gangbangers. Like, yeah.
Projects on the low end. He spent plenty of time at his grandmother's house as a young kid.
Gangbangers in
the project, so like I was seeing shit that I really didn't even know I was seeing at the time, because I was like ignorant as hell to the fact, because I was a kid. But then I grow up and I think about the same like, damn, I was really around this and that, you know?
His cousins, Lil D, Buka 600, and Jaro City Ronte, who are all brothers, with Lil D being the youngest and Ronte being the oldest. They also lived on Jaro City territory at an early age, and Tay spent a lot of time at their house as well, and became good friends with some Jaro City guys, including FBG Butter, before the war kicked off.
Folks them was living over there and going to school over there at one point. And that's how they met Butter. Then folks them ended up moving on our side of King Drive to Prairie.
It was 600 and Butter, and they was together. Butter and 600. Like, there's a lot of things that went on that many people don't know about. And we beat up Buka 6. Was it Buka? Cause we called Lil D. We beat up 600 and we beat up Butter. You know, Butter was with 600 and it was like a whole thing that went on.
Being his father's only son, Tay had a very close relationship with his dad, and he speaks very highly on him. Unfortunately, Tay's father would be sentenced to 10 years.
I've been yearning for my pops my whole life, man. If you're out there growing up without a pop, you find one, man. Find your uncle, find a cousin, big cousin. Hell, it could be your little cousin, whatever. When I didn't have my daddy on my side, my Uncle Ronnie stood up, and he was damn near my pop, you know? If you ain't got a pop, man, find somebody, because it's important to have a pop your entire life, man. If you don't, it hurts.
In the feds around 2007, when Tay was only 10 years old, and this would heavily affect his life going forward.
In an interview that your dad went to prison for 10 years when you were young.
Yeah, he probably was like 10, 11 or some shit. And that shit, like, played a big role in all the other shit that went on after he went to to the Fed.
And he would say, although Mina was only a year older than him, from this point forward, Tay's mother had to work long hours to support them, and Mina raised Tay, made sure he ate, and she also did hair to keep money in her pocket, and would always give Tay money.
I always talked about in interviews how much my mama couldn't be around because she was always working. My daddy was in the Fed, she was working hard. Imagine, we 11 months apart, so I look at her like we equal, but
what?
She really like my mama low-key, she feeding us. She sending me outside to the block with money. You feel me? Like Mina always did her, had a little hustle.
Around this time, Chicago began tearing down the project buildings and the family would begin moving around. He would spend time jumping between multiple schools, including Parkside and Tanner, which are located over east, as well as Nicholson Elementary, located on 60th and Peoria, before attending Betsy Ross around 6th grade, located in the heart of 600. He would say this is where he began getting in trouble. 600 is located from 59...
That's about the age you start really getting in trouble. I feel like my trouble started about the age of 12, 13 years old. That's when I started getting in trouble with the cops. That's when I started, as they say, jumping off the porch. I wasn't on the porch with the old people and the babies no more. I jumped off that bit with my feet, and guess what? Without fail, without cause, my butt went straight to the penitentiary. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. I've been sent to DOC 3 different times. That's what gang culture gets you. That's what gang life gets you. If you're lucky enough like me to make it to live to 43.
9th to 61st and King Drive.
Because a lot of them don't get to live to see 18, much less 43.
But back then, the young group weren't claiming a clique yet, and the older guys were claiming
Jail
Brick City.
Big homie, the Bricks is 59, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, Brick City, if you came in our hood, it's like, the alley is like brick, like real bricks, not even like cement, brick in our alley. So like, Tony was on some Brick City, and we was like the younger version of Brick City.
Tay would explain how when he jumped in the streets, Lil Boo was teaching him the ins and outs and was like a big brother to him, and he was a few years older than Tay. Lil Boo and D-Thang would go on to create 600 in 2009. And unlike older gangs in Chicago, which are mostly focused on getting money, Tay would describe D-Thang and Lil Boo as just being gangsters and not involved in street hustling.
They the same. Like, that's why they was like that. Like, them niggas, they don't sell drugs or none of that shit. They was straight hot heads trying to pop some outrageous gang banging tough guys.
Which explains a lot, as many cliques after this main focus became warring and get back instead of getting money. I'm trying to focus on Tay in this video, and I will talk about other guys in
That makes no sense, folks. Like, on the homies, man, you cannot be just a hothead in the streets. You cannot be like that. You gotta be level-headed, or you're just gonna be dead or in jail. You're not gonna have a very long run on the street if you're gonna be like that. Like, you gotta have some kind of structure.
And I'm also only telling Tay's come up and up until about 2017. 600 is located right next to many hoods, including O Block, MOB, and Jaro City. Tay would also say he became 600 around this time, with Lil Boo being the one bringing him in.
It was me and my book in the room, and he looked over at me, like, yeah, so Tay, you ready to get with this shit, boy? I'm damn. Okay, cool. But that mean, Booker like, man, he asked me if you ready to get down with this 600 shit.
Although there was tension between the hoods stemming from older guys, Chicago was known for having parties almost every day, and all of these hoods would party together back in 2010. Tay's crib would also be described as the hangout spot, as he was allowed to have all of his friends over, explaining that his mother would rather have him in the house with his friends rather than on the block. In turn, 20 plus members from 600 and other cliques that he was cool with would all be at Tay's crib kicking it frequently. This made Tay develop very close personal relationships with a lot of the guys he was around, not only from 600 but O Block as well.
My mama, she just understood that there was a lot going on outside in the streets, and like literally, because we lived in the hood, so as soon as I step out her door, I'm in the field. You don't gotta go over dude crib, because you could have a girl over here. You don't gotta go to his house or stand over there because you want to smoke with your homie. You can smoke here. You can smoke in your room.
Tay would also say he caught a gun case around this time, as he was.
But being a parent like that, it's never going to work out. You cannot be your parent. I mean, you cannot be a parent and be your child's friend. You can't be. because they're going to draw a line. So you got to draw a line somewhere because you got to have structure. If your kids don't have structure, they grow up and turn out like me. I didn't turn out bad. Like, I'm doing the best. I'm living my best life right now. Like, but before this, before I started having my children, I was on another level with it. Like, I was out there banging, real hard banging, like doing the most, doing drugs, drinking, toting a pistol everywhere. Like,
was only 14 years old. E-Day and FBG Duck would begin dissing back and forth, creating possibly the first drill beef in early 2011, and countless rappers would follow suit following this.
We going hard on you fucking stoop. It ain't drilling hard. What the fucking do? We think rag niggas like the fucking do.
My niggas told me don't show no sympathy for E-Day. I will chop his fucking body up and throw it on the E-way.
We were talking about E-Day. You just went from E-Day to Black.
Because you got to add them in there. You got to add Black in there. Because it was Black and E-Day and Duck. They was going next.
When they first started dissing each other?
They first started dissing.
The music made it like, I felt like, man, like, woo! I just felt like it went to a whole other level after that. I think started this song, E-Day. I'm gonna be a whole 100 with y'all. E-Day started it.
At this time, Tay didn't have any dead homies from 600, but this would soon change.
When you go start dissing the dead in the music, I know how I am. And I only hold a couple people rare to my heart that I really crash out for. But my kids, my wife, my family, like that, those are the ones that I'm crashing on every time.
Because on July 17, 2011, 19-year-old Marcus London, who went by the name Baldy, was shot to death, and this would be a huge wake-up call for the young 600 members.
He the first nigga some shit like this happened to at this very point, you know what I'm saying? So the call at that point sound over crazy. Like, I'm getting a call like, what?
Tay and Mina would end up getting in so much trouble in school and in the streets, they would both end up moving to Joliet with their auntie in the summer of 2011, right before Tay's freshman year, where they both went on to attend Joliet Central High School. Tay would play running back for the school his freshman year, but he was back and forth to his mom's house on the weekends. A few weeks into his freshman year, Tay would experience another massive loss, as on September 13, 2011, Devon Varner, who went by D-Thang, was shot and killed. Gyro City Dawn would later be arrested and convicted of this, being sentenced to 20 years in prison. And the crazy thing about this is shortly before D-Thang was killed, Gyro City and 600 had a peace treaty, and Gyro would use this opportunity to get one of the biggest faces from 600.
Wave the white flag, not us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't calling trying to peace treaty with you niggas. My shorty's ready to go. But them niggas called that shit, and then for y'all to take top dog, like, ain't no talking after that.
It's like they called the peace treaty so that they can kill him.
Tay now had 2 dead homies, but this was just the beginning, as just days later on September 19th.
Listen, if you take out my best homie, my biggest homie, you take out my big homie, my little homie, ain't no peace treaty. Ain't no waving no white flags, talking about none of that. You take mine out, your generation gotta go. For the next 3 generations.
Lil Steve, who was the brother of Nemo, was shot and killed as well. Ruga's little brother, MOB Scrap, would be arrested for this, but would later be found not guilty at trial.
It was crazy because when he ended up getting locked up for Steve murder, it was one of my first introductions to this street shit. Like, you know, they killed Lil Steve when he was 14.
Tay also said that back then, MOB was the most active ops that they always had to be on the lookout for.
Who was that one individual, bro, that just y'all had to look out for the areas that y'all knew would put in business, just like, you know, like, look, this dude ain't fucking around.
It was all, when I was growing up, it was always MOB. Like MOB and Scrap.
Back home, the wars continued taking lives from each hood, including 600, and Chicago began getting very deadly as the city would see a big jump in murders in the coming year of 2012. Another major loss for 600 would happen just a month into the new year, as 20-year-old Shaquille Rush, known as 600 Shaq, would be killed outside of a party. 51 Melly would mock Shaq on Twitter and would take credit.
I heard 600 Shaq last words was, "Can I piss first?" Shaq City. Who invented that? I could be real disrespectful. I'm gonna have the last words. 600 Shaq ain't get caught in the alley with his dick out.
for this. This is what really kicked off the war between 600 and 051.
Motherfucking comments be getting me, boy.
You scared of the dark? No. I'm one of them type of guys that be in the dark waiting for you when you gotta go pee at night. And I just get you, and you don't never come back to your parents again.
And sadly, Shaq also had a child on the way. He was born later in this year. Tay would finish his freshman year in Joliet in June, and they would spend the summer getting into shootouts and making music. He also became close friends with Von this summer. In a clip that went viral a few years ago, Tay would tell 16 Shot him that in 2012, everybody couldn't hang with Von because you're going to end up in frequent shootouts, and Tay was one of his closest friends at the time.
2012, everybody couldn't hang with Von. Like, if you was hanging with Von, you had to accept everything that came with Von. You had to accept that you was going to be in shooting. Accept that it was going to be that, and you had to be with it.
Tay would also tell a funny story that happened around this time, how he was at a party with all the guys, and they were all rapping along to the music, saying rest in peace to Baldy and fuck one of their ops. Right before saying it the last time, the music cut off, and Tay was the only one in the party to still be singing along, and he would accidentally say fuck his homie. This was a funny story that I thought I'd include in here.
Like, we was yelling like our dead homie's name, bro. And then we'll say F one of the ops dead homies, bro. I swear all the music cut off, everybody stopped rapping but me, folks. I ended up yelling fuck and said my own dead homie name at the end, folks. Straight DJ scratch. Like I yelped it, everybody heard, oh, who the fuck did say? I heard a gun cocking everything. All that about to blow me down in this bitch.
They turned the music off, and we all heard Tay say F Baldy, and we like, nigga, what is you on? You feel me? But ain't nobody whoop him enough.
Tay would return back to Joliet for his sophomore year, and as the war was fully kicked off back home, members at Dunbar High School like L.A. Capone were getting jumped at school. Tay would say Von was the first one to go to Dunbar because L.A. was getting beat up. Von would also rap about this in the song Wait.
L.A. get jumped at Dunbar, right? Usual stuff though, cause he steady having smoke at Dunbar. Long story short, they have a bang out at Dunbar. This nigga Von, he went up there, he tossing that Dunbar. It was him and some more of the guys, but I ain't gonna mention the other guys because they out here still. You feel me? But
matter of fact, this was the day I shut up Dunbar with LA. M-Thing and McAdoo. JoJo died, we left the dude.
Shooting up Dunbar with McAdoo and King Von.
I ain't shoot up shit with nobody, but you know, bro, no. Ain't shit happen for real, but
okay,
you know.
So that's the true story.
Yeah, it's a true story.
And just a few weeks into Tay's sophomore year, he would get on the train back to Chicago and drop out of Joliet High School, not planning on returning back. LA would also get shot in the leg around this time, but I wasn't able to find exactly when.
I was with him when he got shot. All of us was getting shot at and shit. When I turned around, folks was laying in the street, he was stretched out, shot up in the legs and shit.
LA would kick off 2013 with a big song titled Murder. This song has almost 10 million views and quickly made LA the hottest rapper from 600.
You with the shit, get murdered. You talk slick, get murdered. Murder me, it's unheard of. On your block, it's a murder.
LA and Rondo were going to release Face Down just days later on January 15th. 2 months later in March, LA and Rondo would release Shooters. This song has well over 13 million views and was huge at the time. In the beginning of this song, Rondo would say the phrase Tay 600 up them Rugers, which made Tay famous as well and looked at as a main face from 600.
Got a lot of shooters. Tay 600 up them Rugers.
I used to go in the studio and say, yeah, folks, make this song about me. What? Make this verse about me. The shit I did outside in the trench made niggas get in that booth and say, yeah, Tay 600, he gonna smoke you. Tay 600, he gonna clap you. Tay 600 up them Rugers.
600 will go on to make huge songs, releasing 600 on June 10th with E-Day, S-Dot, and Rondo on the song. It has over 8 million views.
Rest in peace, my guys, that's from 600. Ain't no squad like us, bitch, I'm from 600.
Shortly after this, Rondo and LA would make history as they went on to release one of the biggest songs to ever come out of the drill scene, releasing Play for Keeps on July 29th. This song was huge at the time and has well over 60 million views. Lil Durk would appear in this video as well, and Rondo would start his verse off again by shouting out Tay, as well as in his verse saying Tay 600 up them Rugers quick.
Yeah,
I'ma shoot a bitch. Take 600 other rules quick.
Though they did seem they were on their way to make it out, the streets would quickly catch up with them. LA would feature on a song called With the Shits on September 18th, which has well over 10 million views, and around 2 weeks later on September 16th, 2013, 600 would take a massive loss that they never were really able to shake back from. LA Capone, whose real name is Leonard Anderson, was at a recording studio on the city's south side, recording his verse for the song Brothers, featuring Lil Durk and Rondo. While calling his ride, LA stepped out into the alley. While he was standing in the alley, two men approached him and shot him twice. This would be a massive loss for 600 and Tay especially, as LA was one of his closest friends.
When he got shot the second time, the dude that shot him, he like shot him in the same area as the first wound.
Oh, wow.
And it was like when they shot him that time, it was like he kind of bled to death because it kind of reopened the old wound.
Niggas was ducking they show, running from this shit. When we looked around, most of the time, all we seen was M-Thing, LA, and Tay.
Gotta talk about LA cause he a legend too.
Tay would jump off his rap career around this time as well, as he featured on a Rondo song called Poppin' Tags. He would show LA this song right before he passed and would say LA is the reason he began rapping.
Who influenced you to get in the booth?
LA.
Okay. LA Capone.
I'm 600. Glock 40 hollows can't run from them. Fuck British squad, ain't young money. Keep a Glock 40 for them young dubbies.
Tay also featured on a song with OTF Newski called Ruger, released a few days before Christmas.
The bees ain't shit, sweet eye. How your niggas ducking hot shit? OTF ain't no new nigga, so you know I be on the block with him. That's my clip. Let's go.
Rondo and C-Day will release Bail Out on January 24th, which has over 9 million views, before Tay would also appear on a huge song, as the group released 600 Part 2 on January 30th.
My homie got killed, don't say double O. So I'm still, don't say double O.
This was a huge song at the time and has over 10 million views. The next month in February, 600 would really begin falling apart. On February 23rd, 2014, 28-year-old Javon Boyd was sitting in his vehicle waiting on a passenger as he was working as a cab driver. While he was sitting there in his car,
I think that's the worst kind of job to have in Chicago, is a cab driver or a Lyft or Uber driver. Excuse me. Uber driver. Like, if you Uber and you don't know who's getting in your car, you don't know who wants them, who's after them, what kind of money they got on their top. Like,
I would pull up next to him that contains 600 members such as Rondo, C-Day, Tay, D-Rose, and two females, one being Nemo's sister. Rondo and C-Day would get out of the car and approach Javon's vehicle, asking him where he's from, before shooting him multiple times and pulling off. C-Day would again leave fingerprints and drop his phone at the scene. C-Day would have one of the females return to the scene.
This is the most goofy ass shit I ever heard of. First, you leave fingerprints. You're not wearing no gloves on the drill. Stupid. Number two, you take your phone on a drill. Stupid. Number three, you drop your phone on a drill. Stupid.
And tell police she dropped her phone nearby and was looking for it. When questioned further, she would claim that she had seen the murder and dropped her phone when it happened. This was a very big mistake, as they did not only take her name and phone number, but her plate numbers as well to her car, and she would later become a witness against Rondo and C-Day.
Whoever did it, if somebody posts something, somebody come forward. That's all I'm asking for.
It was just about 4 a.m. Saturday when livery driver Javon Boyd was shot and killed while waiting on a fare in McKinley Park. By the time the woman he was to have picked up arrived, it was too late. Police say the shooter approached from the vehicle's passenger side, hitting him in the back and legs.
Rondo would end up getting arrested shortly after leaving a Dave & Buster's around 2 weeks later on March 7th. Following that, C-Day would also be arrested shortly after on March 18th, being found hiding at Chief Keef's mansion. For the time being, the men were claiming their innocence, and the rest of 600 were left without 4 of their main members in a matter of months. Tay would release a song with C-Day called Gang a week later on March 25th. Tay would go on to release Money Counter on April 5th as well. And 2 months after this, Tay's sister Jamina would be arrested for unlawful possession of a handgun. She was pulled over after Vaughn and Verney had just shot at someone and her car's description was put out. Police would find multiple guns in her car and she would eventually serve prison time for this.
She caught a case she should have never caught. Some shit go down.
That shouldn't have went down while motherfuckers was in my sister's car. Motherfucker, get up out the car and try to get on feet. When they pulled my sister over, gang, my sister wouldn't even been in jail if the niggas who ran didn't leave they pipes in the car.
And King Von would rap about this in the song Don't Wanna Be Me, where he said that she took the case and she 100 until she fucked on the op, now she nothing. He would diss Mina at the end because she did eventually start messing with 051 Melly.
Me and Bernie slide. Got a bitch in the car, she just drive. We all thought we was blasting and wild. Took the case, man, that bitch was 100 until she fucked on the op, now she nothing. Damn.
Tay would go on to release Hottest in My City on July 15th.
R.I.P. my bro, LA, I miss him dearly. LA gang, I was giving ops that work so niggas fear me.
And a few months later in October, Lamron OJ would go on Twitter saying Tay's name was in Rondo and C-Day's paperwork and that he was snitching. Tay would tweet back at OJ denying these allegations. Also sometime this month, S. and Tay released With the Shits. This is recognized as one of Tay's best verses. He went crazy on this song, although it was deleted off of YouTube.
You get killed in the same day. Lil Mark and Shondell, they got killed in the same way.
Tay would then go on to release his debut mixtape titled My Brother's Keeper in December, with him and LA on the cover. Tay would also get a Zach TV interview, which was released on December 14th.
A nigga from the south side of Chicago never thought about, you ever thought about being a rapper? This shit just came about, man. How did that shit come about?
Man, how it really came about was my brother was doing this thing, LA was doing this thing. And this is around the time everybody, their mama was
rapping and shit.
Just jumping up the porch rapping.
He would end the year off with a song called No Hook, released on New Year's Eve. This has around 500,000 views.
Some LA gang, so I gang bang, and that's on the fucking thing. Keep it rubber close, I ain't got time, I don't want no fucking baby.
2015 would be equally as bad for 600 as they lost more key members and began branching apart. Tay was fresh off his debut mixtape and will release a big song on March 21st, remixing Roddy Rebel's Computers. Tay's remix has right under 5 million views.
5 million. Keep that real good close, bitch, that's my best friend. Ain't on my block, we got big guns like some on Tekken.
And just 2 weeks after this, 600 would take another massive loss, as on April 3rd, 2015, 22-year-old
like muscles,
Jerome Anderson, who went by Lil Boo, was walking near 58th and King Drive when a gold vehicle pulled up and a man jumped out of the car and shot Lil Boo. He would be taken to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, located around 20 minutes from 59th and King Drive, where he would be pronounced dead. This would be devastating for 600, as Lil Boo was one of the founders, and especially to Tay, as Lil Boo was like a big brother to him.
You know, like everything just came full circle when I seen it. It just made me be grateful for, like, you know, still being here. Cause even I'm at the point in my life now, man, where like even the people like that taught me the game are dead. That had a direct link to why I am the person I am and how far I came. They all are dead.
Tay would go on to release a remix to G Herbo's 079 shit, calling his version Southside Shit, released on May 3rd.
Heard you talking too crazy on Twitter, pull up, put the tape to his teeth. Put the teeth, put some bread on your head, then I go out of town, you be dead in the week.
And he would also release 2 more songs shortly after, dropping Gorillas on May 17th, and him and S. released No Something on May 20th. Although S. did take this video down as well.
You better hit that like button right now. Hit the like button. I'll wait. Leave a comment. I'll wait. Subscribe if you're new. I'll wait. I need my money too. I'll wait.
And shortly after this, C-Day's brother E-Day, along with other 600 members, including Breezy, would take to Twitter calling Tay a snitch, saying he wrote a statement in the Javon Boyd case. Tay would quickly begin denying these rumors and will begin going back and forth with multiple 600 members as close friends quickly became enemies. And shortly after this, on July 11th, Tay would release a song called No Hook, featuring Asian Doll.
40 Ruger, I won't never leave it. Takes 600 lacking, you won't never see it. Cause I'm always gonna keep me a ratchet.
Tay was now taking a step away from the streets and fully dedicated to rapping. He will continue dropping music for the rest of the year, releasing Gambino Freestyle on August 1st.
Then get caught by the ops without it, you feel me?
As well as a song titled With That, released on September 7th, which was a big song at the time and has over 1 million views.
You doing like numbers like that
And a
off
few
one
weeks later,
song,
Tay
bro?
released a tribute song to LA Capone titled Worst Memory. This is easily one of Tay's best songs and has well over 6 million views.
Remember when them surgeons came out and said LA ain't make it? Swear I couldn't believe that shit, but man, I had to face it.
Tay will go on to release Bodies Droppin' on October 25th before releasing a big song titled Real Shit on December 23rd. This also has over 1 million views.
You the type of sneak this over shit. I'm the youngin' with the gunplay from the 6. Broke ass niggas, y'all boys need a fix.
And then going into 2016, Tay would start the year off with a song alongside EBE Bands titled Poppin'. This has almost 1 million views.
All his shit hits numbers.
It was now 2 years since Rondo and C-Day have been in jail, and they would begin their trial early in March. Tay would end up getting arrested after a warrant was put out for his arrest for contempt of court. Tay would also have a gun on him when he was stopped and arrested for this warrant and would be booked into jail.
Look at that. That boy's whole head right here. Dang, they tore his dread out. Come on.
Tay would later actually admit to being brought to Rondo and C-Day's trial while in jail, but never had to go and testify.
Why are they calling him to court every time Rondo and them go to court? Why? Because you're a witness, but they don't need you because there's so many other people getting on the stand pointing at them.
They was getting me up out of my sleep, which was pissing me off. You feel me? They was getting me up out of my sleep for something that they never put me never intertwined me with it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it was like they wake me up. I'm sitting in the back from like 9 in the morning to like 5 in the afternoon, and they just like leaving me back there.
That.
The whole time with
Court
people catching cases in the whole court system, period. It's never been a point where somebody had told on a nigga, and then when it came trial, he didn't have to get on the stand and tell what he say.
The streets would begin talking, and Tay was quickly labeled a snitch. And like I said before, C-Day did drop his phone at the scene, and he sent the woman back to retrieve it, where police would end up getting her confession and using pictures in the phone to match the outfits worn by Rondo and C-Day.
The victim then was the jury from watching the videotape. That's what got them hit. The tape, the videotape. Okay. Really, you know what I'm saying?
If you out there pulling bodies, why you videotaping them, man? Come on. You don't need to do that. It's 2025. If you did some shit, you putting work in on the streets, you out on the court, like, your name's going to get out there. The people are going to be scared of you for what you've done. You do not have to get on the internet and start telling on yourself. It's called self-incriminating. You are doing it for no reason. The clout will come to your name if you stay solid, if you just drill and ill, you know what I mean? And your name, people are going to know who's doing it. Like, you don't have to get on the internet and say you're doing it. It will come out.
They were saying, oh, he had on this, he had on that, he had on this.
This killing was really senseless, and the cab driver had absolutely nothing to do with the war. There were plenty of rumors going around that he had something to do with LA dying, but this ended up being debunked by multiple members of 600.
There's so many stories people just come up with, but none of them is actually true. I know for a fact that didn't have nothing to do with LA. That whole situation, from my understanding, was like mistaken identity.
And in the end of all this, Tay never testified, and Rondo was sent to 39 years, and C-Day sentenced to 38 years in prison. This will pretty much be the end of 600, as they only fell apart following this. Tay would end up receiving around a year in prison for the gun case. There are rumors that Tay got jumped in the county for writing a statement on Rondo, and the man who beat him up pulled his dreads out.
And again, called a cold case. He beat his ass when he went to court. He beat his ass at court though, so pulled his dreads out. I guess he decided not to get on the stand and go all the way through with the shit.
FBG Duck would also weigh in on the situation on the song Let's Talk, saying everybody know Tay a snitch.
Just want to talk about snitch? Well, we know Tay a snitch. We know. But y'all knew that. You know. I ain't really have to say that shit.
Breezy would also go on to do interviews saying he was at the trial and that the lawyer showed him Tay's statement.
Is it the paperwork seen, or is it just like a assumption?
There's some serious shit like that. Only certain eyes can see that paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
But we seen it. Everybody from this block seen it. If we went to that courtroom, that lawyer let us see it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So we just not gonna lie on nobody, bro. Feel me? And we love this shorty, bro.
This was a viral clip and has over 3 million views. And E-Day also went on to do a Say Cheese interview as well, saying Tay snitched.
Tay 600 shit, man. Yeah, you already know, man. That nigga, he ain't right, man. The nigga told, man, you know. He told on bro now.
Tay will get out of prison in December, releasing First Day Out on December 26, where he would seemingly respond to all the rumors.
Niggas they talk like they be speaking the real, but they be speaking the fake. Fuck on my dick, niggas they do it for clout. I do this shit for a lady.
He would then go on to appear on a Say Cheese TV interview.
Why'd you cut your hair? Because I knew they was going to cut my shit in the joint anyway, so I just wanted to cut it and have it at least decent before they try to just shave my shit off, and I had one of those funny looking ass bros in my mugshot.
Tay would continue rapping after this, releasing huge songs along the way. His relationship with 600 never really got better, and he eventually changed his rap name to Take Capone in honor of LA.
Calling me a rat and never see me in the papers, but the hoes that told you niggas fucked him in the brace.
Him and M-Thang always have been close, even through the rumors, although M-Thang did appear on DJU recently and stated Tay know he was wrong for writing a statement on Rondo and C-Day.
Don't sit on his couch and be like, oh man, he a rat, shit like that. I just feel like he was tricked out. He was tricked out of his spot. He was tricked into saying some shit he ain't had no business saying. So at the end of the day, yeah, he bogus, because as a street nigga, you know to go in there, don't say shit for real. You know, I just feel like he was tricked out of saying some shit he ain't had no business saying shit.
And Tay will go on to rant on live, responding, saying that M-Thang never showed him that energy to his face.
And you mad at me, folk, because you mad I admitted to be... He not even mad at me. Let me clear that up, folk. He not mad at me, folk. What Thang referring to, folk, he didn't want me admitting, folk, to being nowhere near the scene, folk. But I watched on the interview and them talking to folks, and he like, oh, bro, what did you mean? And what? I didn't say this, and I ain't... What? What the fuck is I'm looking at?
After 5 total mixtapes and countless big songs, Tay now is very active on YouTube and goes live frequently, telling stories about back in the day and people he was close with. Go check his YouTube out and give his videos a watch. If you enjoy this kind of content, hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you...
That's gonna do it for us today, man. Like, comment, subscribe, do it all. You know what to do. We out of here. Peace!